Hello? Hello, everyone. My name is Ádístsiin. I overlook the Navajo language program at the University of New Mexico. Today, we are bringing to you our Diné Culture Night. Thank you for coming. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, so thank you for celebrating with us. I'd like to introduce Dr. Jennifer Wheeler of Mini Farms, Arizona. Her presentation this evening is about Ádístsiin. And Jennifer is a lifelong teacher and advocate of the diwozhiiłbéí. So go ahead, Jennifer, and she'll introduce herself in Navajo to you guys.
Yate shik da shidene. She ya yo dene inshle ado Kenya ani da shija do da shiche do twitch ni eya da shanale. Dag halana de eya eyasi nasha a kwaege eya shiyaho ado shama do shija a kwaege tati eya bekondel kle. Ado shik dan linigi shideja ado shamayaj shiaj dan linigi alto kwaege. Ado shanale hollande ya shija jadit ko holiede ade ya shanale narande ako a kwaege elto ya shamayaj shibija dan linigi. Ado shija yaja dan linigi ati kwaege eya keda hate ako hot eya dene estane nshle kwaege belhin shnani eya tsena jini enle ado ye tachini eya yashchin ako maithe tlish holyede eya eyasinaga ado kwaege tsaga hotzane na hos eya Keda huite ako nachalchine eya hodlo a shike nakhe ado nikhe ja aden linigi ado nikhe naleya jelto hodlo ako hot eya yaat nikhe dini do lel. Good evening, everyone. I am of the Bee People clan, and my father is the Tarrowing House. And my maternal grandfather is also Tarrowing House, and my paternal grandfather was Bitterwater. And I am originally from the middle of the Navajo Nation, from Mini Farms, and I was raised there. My mother and my father and all of my family are still there. And my father is from the Jedito area, and I also have lots of family there. So I want to say good evening, and I also want to thank UNM, especially the Navajo language program at UNM, for inviting me today and giving me this opportunity to spend some time with you. The language and culture sustainability and revitalization efforts are very much appreciated. So I want to thank the University of New Mexico for supporting such programs. Di eya kodo di diwozhiishzhiin eya Ádístsiin bedine. Ako di eya llashi niche daholo ado niche rangoshi eya dahnazneldo najja ako njanoshi eya ba daholia. this is our stirring sticks that we Navajo people use. And it is not just a set of wooden sticks that we use to stir our food with as we're prepping our food or as we're cooking it on fire. This is actually a very spiritual and valuable and significant set of tools that we have. You know, not just us Diné women utilize these stirring sticks. It's really for all of us in our family. And I hold this one here, which is very special to me because my late grandmother used to have this set. She used to have quite a few sets, and I'm happy to say that, you know, some of us still care for these as they were passed down to us. Nikishi eya Ádístsiin nike da hodlodo njonoshi eya ndacha alto ado chiyan elneko ado haishi tushchin tratnil dat nashkij haishi be da lehegi ado alkhan goda alto di alkhan yo be del ako di eya shi kwa eysi ba hashnet dolil ado hashit au eya hanne billendazd it ado aniche dit hegin da jako shilto hanne dan linigi shi aniche be nichel da hozen ado niche mato niche masane niche zani khas tweed and linigi da shi ya hajo ye nichel da hadne au ya ndacha ako di kut au ya niche yo dene dani linigi da ge hadlanigi ya di it au da shin tsago be dan hide ne strado ati be etahwil ado ni ya be nihinanish indel a konde shi do a kot au giant ya be il got ya de jata a ko hanet linigi ya I see ya nichel dan lido a hot an halchine nikit so ken kenaleke dan linigi shi ya be bellintahwil neto be ndabenithin hala ya niche kad kaige nikit si de gredo a masane a che anale da sidli a ko ashiniche na hasala a ko shama a ko konile hajo a dal hajo nda idol kid hajo dit au niche hannet dan linigi ado nkit so dezin adat a hege hajo bedahol a ko nasko ya de no ledo lechen kilno ya nikita hanatze niche mado niche mayaje dan linigi ado niche masana holonde yisi ya nahat ego ado niche che eldo da holon da hashij ko ado da hadlanigi ya niche che ya hodlonde alla ya hatralin lo I see ya lainach to hidden and linigi ya ye kan nalro at chiche hot au ya ya da ho ko edi hannet dan linigi hot au nasko dik at niche nachasala a ko hajashi bitahol and there are many stories included in these stirring sticks, and this is just one of many tools that we have. that we get from our land, from our Mother Earth, and in Diné we call her Diwozhiiłbéí. Halet Allah al ado halet Allah ya chon no ya kwaege be nikilchashnet dolil ako di ya al-qida nasja ako di adults o zia do al-zolia ako ahawan gunne Jian beish o yo shaliat ako quije ya shaganike Jian el ego ne ya dasenel ako do ya na dalke na dot na dalsu be Jian il inigi do eight ya be aquaige ye shikana lwada ako Jian that hegi ya aqua hanash nilo aqua yo shikana lwo ako hla ya dan so ado hla di tsinigi di quad hla is tanago dan sa ako di ya hla na ki tra di ashla hastra tosted ya be alchibes quaige adonana shata ya ashtlatle ako khedigishi hot out ndaja. With the stirring sticks, these can be made in different sizes, lengthwise, and with each stick, as you notice, this is very narrow. So some are a little wider and some are a little heavier when they're tied together like this. So in our culture, our grandmothers tell us that you should always have 7 or 5 in a bundle. Ako kinaldago ya yisi chudel inahalen ako jok at ya kwa nkilhol jishike elto kinalda bejeba adol lehende do adol kalende do ya ashkoda nacha sali ako ahot jo kinalda de ya akwage neat nil kinalda bitsira babet loko akwage ya neat nil do lai kwasenil dit Ádístsiinigi ndajijako ako ahot ya ledo bitsido sendala ya kinalda hegi kwa ya halyago ahot nadilwo di ka ako quaige ya njuna di Ádístsiinigi ya belta hojogo naznille belta hojogo ado ya hitan zengo ado so de zendo sin adat hegi ahot ya but ado ya di Ádístsiinigi ya najichle ako ahot ya hanet bilndaz god benina ya hajo ba hajilia do hajo jija. Because most of these tools that we have that I showed you here all come from Diwozhiishzhiin, our Mother Earth. They are all part of her, and because they are all part of her, we care for them just like children, just like our own children, our own grandchildren. They are all part of us, and we perceive these tools that we get from our Navajo in the same manner. So that's why we take it upon ourselves, and we're responsible and accountable for stirring sticks like this here. We don't just put them away either. We don't just cover them up and put them in a safe place and not take them out for a year or two. They should be visible in the home. Some family put them up above the doorway at the entrance of a home. Some of us put them up on the wall in our living rooms, and some of us keep them in our kitchens. Even when we keep them in our kitchens, we don't just leave them on the wall or on a shelf or on a counter. For me, I keep mine among all of the other kitchen utensils that I keep and that I use all the time near the stove. So they're always there. And in the Navajo way, these are living, they're breathing, and they can see us, and they can hear us, and they can sense us. So when we use these stirring sticks to prepare our blue corn mush, for example, when we're using it, it's feeling us, it's sensing us, it's feeling our fingers, our hands, it's listening to our voice. So when we cook the blue mush, as an example, we are very cognizant of our speech and our actions and our mannerism and our thoughts, because again, we're connecting with Nihima Nahastan. So when we stir a pot of mush, in some of the videos that I share on YouTube, the videos that I do all in our Diné language, in some of those videos I share that it's very important that we always keep several things in mind when we're stirring any type of mush, for example. So one of those things is we should always stir clockwise. So because when you enter a hogan, you always enter from the east and you go clockwise. So that's a very strong symbol and part of our Diné culture. Same thing with stirring sticks. So when you're stirring a pot of mush, whether it's with white corn, blue corn, yellow corn, we should always stir clockwise and prepare our food that way. And that is always shared also by our elders and our aunties who help us at a Kenalda ceremony, puberty ceremony. So, we would have all, aunties and grandmas' big pots going with the white corn batter that we prepare the day of the mixing and pouring into the ground during our Kenalda ceremony. So we always have, one or two aunties or grandmas who, supervise the whole mixing of the corn, and they always stress that you should always stir the mush clockwise. So, that's an example of a very beautiful teaching that we have during our ceremonies. So this is Ádístsiin, and whether you buy it from, a flea market, whether you buy it from a local community member. These are some of the things that we always need to consider and remember and keep in mind when you use your steering sticks. And for some of us, however, we have been very fortunate to have been raised in families who are very knowledgeable and who are, very willing to share their teachings, not just from grandma to mom to daughter, but elders who are always willing to share these cultural teachings because they really value them, and they would like for these teachings to be passed on to future Diné children, grandchildren, so that they can, live with the same teachings, live with the same grounded, rooted knowledge that they were raised with, so that these teachings can be passed into the future generations. So my grandmother was one of those people. It was very important to her to share these teachings, and she instilled that in all her children, daughters and sons, who are my mother, my aunts, and my late uncles. And today, my siblings and I, all of us, we try to do the best we can in passing that knowledge and that pride in knowing who we are as Diné, and passing that on, not just to our children and our own grandchildren, but to our Diné people. So my mother today, she has been for a long time, but today she still goes outside in many farms, and she walks around and she observes all of the greasewood around her, and she knows which greasewood has the perfect stems and branches. She takes care of them, and she goes to them when she's ready to make a new set. So some of us are fortunate to live in areas where we have a lot of those resources, and one of them is the greasewood, which is what these are made of. So my mother still makes these, and she makes them throughout the year. So I will share that process with you here in a couple of minutes. Akadit au diwozhii ídístsiin ado diwozhii ya anadat ako di kwan hima nhikeya bakage akage ya diwozhii silai ado lahoshi ya ako ke da hanot inegoshin hinao ayo da den akon de hajo beniyet tajdra hoto benaishil kido kha ila hollo kha de la hollo jno ya hot la big ishto galto di it's au ahwe ádístsiin la ajdo lil ako do nichilba da hazinoshi ya di shi ad nichinal edishlil ako di ya shama hot au anayil ado she ya lai shama linigi ya bitsado bohosh ado ati ya bohosh ako ako shama nagil higi it's ya kodosha nichinal edishlil ado shi niche di it's ya ajil do di kwa bahane gishi ya kodo nachan shledo lil ado shi niche ya be nas not edo lil do nasko ya Navajo Nation so ke don hin alle kenlinigi shi dit au llabell in dall idol leildo an lle ya dit au Navajo ba dall idol leildo bindi hot an dit jadol leil a koshe ya dit a shama sania do shama ya shama dan linigi hot au ya ya da hosen do dit an khanda gil I a ko donan ada ado atskillo is do leil go a ko dit au a gil I Diné shama anida go na yidla a Ádístsiin I am going to show you this set first that my mother recently made, and these are brand new, so you can see these sticks here. And the way my mother makes them, they're very clean, and the sticks are very straight. And like I said, where my mother lives in many farms, she's surrounded by greasewood, and she's very blessed to have these just right outside her home. So she knows where to go, and she knows which sticks to choose. So when you gather your greasewood, when you're ready to clean them, you got to think that far ahead when you're looking through the greasewood. Ako di it au njuno ya idas ado adan sazigi ilto ebe ban sitikesko. A con lede diwozhii betratin jarau diwozhii bitsien igi you see das a hegi janel on a co a quaige ya ban sitze kesle halan saz dit alla is tranago ado haladan lnes a co diwozhiiłbéí rato leildi qua eltro baheti diwozhii eltro nacho hoslago lachet edo leil Janizon hot ya ejdal leildi diwozhii bitsien igi. So keep these sticks in mind, how they would come out when you're looking for the main branches and stems in the greasewood. Ado e quaige ya dishi quaisha da denol did nakis kanda ya bilhin shnani nlego nkilnaswad ado ya diwozhii qua adas anet the snow ade banit aj a ko ade ya di diwozhii gibe de shlil janizen go quaila big ejaraha ya altse I see what long do hot what behosing or she ya altse bigel is do lil shama ta konile do she o hojol walle the jidol wallo o jitset go banj di data a ko hajo ya bajrato traditin da na dalgre da ishi ahwe halonigi ya be bigel ajil ado inda ya a hot ashi to the zenda quaige be hazitze Khala yan hima na san linigi ya bitsado ndilye do lil ado be Ádístsiin adilnil bini na ya benache hot be ban sitze kesle a hot ya at nile shama a ko hot ya di bilhin shnani ya di na dalgre anigi hot ya yenja ado lecha shada ado na ho koste hot ya bajije ado inda ya di it hiji tile ado laho I see that the tado that it's ado benina ya aholla beji tiha ayodo ya shondalle ado ayo ya hosh bitsado ako benina edi it's ahegi be hiji gesho in jonel do ako edi hot be ilia ado di kushina ni ja. Ado shama alto hot out ich anle daig hadlanegi hot out yitrarau ado ídístsiin adan nes do dan johnny do njono eya kes donegi ado he dan sogi hot out Hiji edo dago eya hiji gesh ako hot out ich elto shama kodi eya nanija dishlinigi edi it ako jodi eya dik chego hot out hojle ho ídístsiin ado yo eya khoshpa akonde jashi di it au ídístsiin na halende di anacha hojil do di biyade di kwa satranigi di koje nacha hoshle ho eya isja di dot lejen dot lech a koje di bi de eya ati de tle a kodishin la kwa ni henal de shlich ado besh a ídístsiin nil nliat eto na kana lo a kodidigi be de shlich a kododi bitsinigi di kodoshi ilsa de shlich a kodi eya khoshta ba jodi khoshigi yisi ilsa nacha hojdod lildide ado di kodo bits ado koje bits anadas edo di kwaagi yisi do lil kwana ahagi yisi biniya it do lil a ko edi allaina yisi do lil isja a ko dit ashi kwaagi llada di ni hajo oko bitche ho enjone ado anan ledi julle ho eyadi llada hot eltron a ko binina eya hajo oko beshigi dit o kanja au kodi khoshigi eya nache hojil dit ado di ik a kwaegi hanana a kwa di eya ashibira o nache kedishti a konde kejiti ho di kwaegi alt ego enjone o nache hojil de trago dlago eya nache hojleho kodeye eltro kwa badi dla a Ádístsiin nigi eltoze yille kwaegi binina hajo ogo ejili a ko dit Ádístsiin ado di kwa khoshadas ahegi eya hajo o kojul o Sahoshi eya holajista holoshi sta abira di hot ande abira kwaegi ako kad hot esli kade kodenana di kwaegi ako di kwaegi eya kona de shli di kode na di do o bahishti kwaegi Akodi hot edo leil kwaege eya ayo de tchoshna hadlen selin ado e koje khoshigit atipa akodi kwaege ayo ati da de tchoshigi eya ahjo o kochis o ako khulbeho zentle jodi annez ako atkoji lago sheya han sodolil ako be ilntsigo sheha egedolil ahot a e abil bansitikeso akodi shamayi la de shnenigi eya hotan nez Kujit dodlil dit a Kwaige shin dodlil a dit a de shlil shama da yila git a hon sogo a kon leid a kinal da de sha a sa dan sa lle e hot a be billin sego a sa an saigi ako ein lady koda anne zon jone ako asa igi bihinjit seko dit a khashin so asa igi dego dit edo leilats ako e at ebe bilban kesko. It's good to think about the times that you're going to use these stirring sticks. So when we have the puberty ceremony, Kenalda, we always use very large pots that we mix the batter in. So think about those pots, probably grandma's or auntie's pots, and they're usually about this big. So when the hot boiling water is poured in there and the corn is added, you think about that. So this is about a good grip right here. This is the length that my mother makes them. So this would be a good size. So I'm going to use this as my measuring tool, and I will probably break it right around here where this big part is here. So you can just snap it. And this is how the tip will be. So with the tip, it's up to you. You can cut this down a little bit, or you can also leave it as is. So then when you get done removing all the thorns from here, you start shaving the skin of the branch here. So just be careful. Sometimes it's good to put a pad on your knee or a cutting board. I'm just doing it the way my mother does it. She's a professional stirring stick master, so she usually just does it this way without ever hurting herself. So you'll just, take your time and start shaving the stick here. And when it's winter time, like now, late fall and winter, the greasewood bush will be dry, and all the leaves, of course, will dry, and you know, it may look like a unappealing bush, but in fact it's not dry. As you can see, the inside, it's still very moist. Ako diwozhii dit ego ag ego da edo dago chego da eya diwozhii gi iltcholla bayile akonde dit bijishiko dot is biyade jo ati de tle ako dit bijishi adon jone halchen ako o dit eya nas bijoshiko Ádístsiin. So if you've never really made your own stirring sticks, I'm showing you that it's not difficult at all. Anybody can do this. So if, as Diné people, you know, even if you don't speak Navajo, or even if, you know, you don't have family at home to help you, you can always learn on your own. And if our Diné stories and culture and songs and prayers are meaningful to you, then you can learn these on your own. So I'm really just gifting you the process of how to make our Ádístsiin stirring sticks. So I'm showing you with this demonstration here that it's not difficult at all. Ado shika olye dita ado junene ahwe bekajit on ahwe ag emshdita o binna ishdil kido ohot au ado le bohojil ako ani hilla ado lle hodi it au deneni glinigi nihina haga nihit so de zendo nihiyin adat ahegi within lanshi eya ahwe dit au isdo listo diwozhii bashdo grach ado ade eya biel isdo lich ado so de zend als isegoda be hatzitze shema nastan shtra yadilhil hashchelthe hashchewan kwaege Ádístsiin wal yehegi tla ade shlich kodo niyel shlich orlich kodo eya nits is bekado kwaege nche hajoba nsingo kodo eya Ádó diwozhiiłbéí quaige diwozhii diwozhiil. But ádó Ádístsiin diwozhiil dó éya sealtine bé ba Ian is ídó leiltre ná da sad a chun sohan de éya be chaisdó zi. A chodí it es a lí dod is na slí a chodí bí de éya a dod is. A cho dí dó Diego es donda a conde a cho dí a trodíl I go dí it á a híjin nil ádó a dí quaige ídístsiin bé Diego bé bedjid ó a dolla ni nál is slada. Diego bé bedjid ó ádó jonna go dí it á bitche ó es donno san nil dó leil dí de clé go a cho Diego ja jonna ag es don dó leil jonna bé besan onigi bit ádó a cho dí it á an nás dí chojin nistí ádó la hanánastí. Dí ayo ditra. So you can see the stem here. The branch is very straight in this one, and it's a little wider. So I'm going to do this one again real quick. And the bigger ones, you know, you can break off first. When you're like my mother and you do this quite often, the thorns don't even affect you anymore. So it's good to have a pair of gloves on if you want to wear gloves, but whatever works for you will be fine. So here you can kind of see that there are different branches stemming out here. So it will probably go up to here with this one, but I will try to still keep that middle one in there for now. And here, of course, we won't need this one because it curves here, so I'll break it right about here probably. Dit edo leiltidigi. Aka dishin kaige. Otskin lo eya kodo. Anadish li. So this is how this one is coming out. I will continue to work on this one. And here at the tip, this first one that I did is going to be longer, see? And that's okay. They don't have to be the same size. They don't have to be. But this one is a little wider. It's a little thicker. So I will continue to shave all of these, and then you just mix and match whichever are as narrow as this one. And then the ones that are a little wider will go in this set. So these are the two here. And when you're done and you match your set either in a set of 5 or 7, when you're done with that set, you will wrap the entire bundle together with probably some sort of narrow piece of fabric or material. You can also use a string. I didn't bring it with me, but this is, you know, a standard kitchen string. So you can use that as well and tie the whole bundle together when it's still wet, because this is green, inside is still fresh, and it's flexible. So when you tie the whole bundle up, you'll leave it for you know, a few weeks, and they'll dry as is, and they'll come out like this. They'll come out straight. So that's one way to do it. Otherwise, some of them you can find naturally straight, like this one. So di belatrake e ya di kwa ati de tchoshna halen e shi e ahwe be hoholni a ye go shi e ya la binajdo gisto kwa adi hadas ahigishi lo nacha hojdo lich a konda a hot ende lo njone jo a hot a in no seilende a ko a hot eo e ya a hot ego alta a kodol. So that's up to you, you know, how straight and how clean and how you know, nice you want your bundle. So I still have a few more here that my husband and I found. So this is what I will use, and I'll continue to clean them this way, and that takes time. So I just wanted to show you again the process of making one. So as you can see, my set that I use, I've had this for many years. These are very narrow. So you can see how narrow that is. And this makes it really convenient for me because I use this in my own kitchen when I cook. So it's just the right weight and the right size, the right length. So this one will be thicker and heavier. And this one primarily would be for, you know, some serious cooking, such as at ceremonies and kenalda. And I started these this morning, so this is how they look. So like this one, I'll shave down some more, I'll peel some more. This one's getting there, and this one I finished as well. So dit she eya ahwe etajdo lich got ashi nehela atado lich I see Ádístsiin she then a ado dado nene hajo bena isdil kido ado ahwe la big isdo galdo la isdo lich ado e hawa the name ja o e ya ane di lich di it au di e abenda e ya ashle hoban dista ado kojusen ligi e ya she e at alto dishli a coach e yan she den yan she stiin e ado janene hala e ya di Ádístsiin e kwa halia do hocha naga ado e ya ta kwije e ya quick edes e do khwlnle a ko be a tani that e ya is so little eight e ya kwa chine be but so go hashin such na hodol jish jo e do the chin will yeda e I see na da kano aliago o hot yo ne be bel eliago o hot e ya be nasko jo galdo lech ba he illo a ko jo e see olie a kodi it Ádístsiin hul ganone das in the law hot e ya be jit edolil ado be hotra ya hot edolil ya eko ya nsitze case dolil ako e she e see hot an hier masane dan linde in hinalada a hot a yen dan hin tino yen hitra hada ze ho ashi in ni da no e hot a yen hiln da had linde ko dischi da a ni ko an hiln hadji shige e ya ko an hilho a ge e hot a Wothin lo e hoyat e ishja e she be benachni dolil. So this is our protector, this is our shield, and it's our strength. So we always have these in our homes, and I hope that you learned something today, and I hope that you venture out when you have time, take your children out and take your tools out there with you to wherever the greasewood is in abundance. So make your offering and then make your own stirring sticks. So a lot tied with it culturally, spiritually, and it gives us hope, it gives us strength, it gives us positive and peace of mind. So this is how I will share with you and gift to you all my knowledge that my mother, my aunts, and my late grandmothers, shared with us. So from my Yo'otene family to you all, I hope you make your own and remember these, bits of information from my family to yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, thank you for sharing your demonstration video with us. Jennifer is available here for questions in person. Again, I'd just like to thank her and for agreeing to present at our Diné Culture Night. I hope you all learned a little something from this, and that by next year you'll be cooking with your own ídístsiin or Ádístsiin. So we have some questions, and we're going to switch over to questions. We'll read some of it, and then we'll have Jennifer take questions. She's also encouraging some interaction. So if you wanted to share or show your ídístsiin, you can do that as well.
Thanks everyone for joining. My name is Donovan Pete. I'm a PhD student within the Navajo language, within the Department of Linguistics here at UNM, as well as a research assistant with the Navajo language program. So, I'll be reading off some of the chat questions that show up to the right. So the first one is from Mildred Walters. She asks, I wonder if you can steam the sticks and then bind them to straighten them if you didn't do it initially.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay, the question is, I wonder if you can steam the sticks and then bind them to straighten them if you didn't do it initially.
I think if you have a container that will allow you to do that, I think that is also another way to go, especially if you can't find very straight so that will be a good idea. So yes, you can do that.
All right, great. It looks like we have one question, but it was answered in the chat. But the question was, when is the best time to gather the greasewood sticks?
Like I showed in my video, even though we're in this season now, beginning of winter, when you shave them, they're still moist and green and fresh inside. So you could really do this any time of the year. The only difference there is when you do it in the spring or summer, it's all green, just like you saw the photos of my mother in mini farms. That's when it was early summer. So Now it's winter and it's not green, but the thorns seem to fall quicker than when they're fresh. So you could really do this any time of the year. But, you know, I always say that we as Diné, we have our own parents and grandparents, family who teach us these things. So it's always best to get the advice from your own family first.
Okay, another question is, can one have a small set of 3 to use every day in the kitchen, or should it always be 7 or 5?
Normally, there are stories and prayers and songs associated with the reason why we have them in sets of 7 and 5. So that's the most common. But we also can take, if we need it, because we need it, you know, for practical reason, we would pull one out and maybe even use that one to turn your fry bread over with. So that would be fine. So the idea of having a smaller set of 3 just for you to utilize in your own kitchen and scramble eggs with, I don't see a problem with that. In fact, I just talked to my mother the other day and I asked her to make me a smaller set just for that reason. But she said probably a set of 5 would be good. But if you want to go 3, then, you know, that's up to you as well.
So another question was, I live in the Pacific Northwest. Is there any other plant that can be used?
As far as I know, only because I was raised in mini farms, and like I said in the video, we have an abundance of that type of greasewood in mini farms. That's all I'm used to. I don't know what the other parts of the reservation are, people who live in those, you know, different areas, what type of greasewood they have. In Navajo, there are 3 for sure, and in Navajo, they're called diwozhii, diwozhiishzhiin. They're kind of more blackish color, and then diwozhiiłbéí or diwozhiiłbéí. So there are 3 different types that I know. So it really depends on, you know, what area you live in and what area you want to search for the greasewood.
Okay, so I guess another individual asked, what is the scientific name of greasewood? Are there any greasewood local in Albuquerque?
I don't remember the scientific name of it. Melvitha might know. I can't remember right now.
Okay. Another question is, can you use the smaller branches to make a small set like a whisk?
Yes, and that relates to the previous question. Definitely, if it's something that you want to use on a daily basis, again, you know, scrambling eggs and so forth, then definitely. That's what I asked my mother the other day to make for me. But for the most part, when you mix white corn, blue corn, when you're making a dish like blue mush, for example, that's when it would really apply as far as the cultural teachings tied to it. But if you want to be more practical and use a smaller set that you want to use over the standard metal whisk that we use and buy from the store, then yes, that's what I want too. So I hope my mom makes that set for me.
Another question that I missed was, why 5 or 6, and what is the background story?
as I was saying, you know, some of us were raised with grandparents who were healers, traditional healers. And the way that we were taught is really based on my own late grandmother and my late grandfathers who were medicine men. So there are different stories. Again, it depends on what information your family shares with you. For example, when we say the set of seven, the number seven can relate to different ceremonies that are connected to the stirring sticks. So culturally, you know, we see the Ádístsiin stirring sticks as a weapon, as a protector, as a shield. So every one of those sticks, you could see it as arrow. And these arrows have a significant part in our creation story. And I can only be general with that. If it were my own grandchildren, my own family, then we can discuss that. But the number seven can relate to the different types of blessing way ceremony. It could relate to the specific arrows tied to our creation stories. And then it also ties to the seven deities that are female in our creation stories. So Diné the number 5, when you want to have a smaller set with the narrower sticks, the number 5 also, I have heard that that can also relate to the different phases of life. So again, it is always best to ask your family, your elders.
The next question is, can the kinasta recipient herself make her own steering sticks?
Oh yes, definitely. That would be one of the ideal things to do. So I visited my mother and my sister the other day, and my sister has a granddaughter, Nhitsu, so my mother was just talking about that, about how she already identified a bush or two greasewood around her home. She already identified some sticks that she would like to show her great-granddaughter, my sister's granddaughter. She'll be having her ceremony maybe in the next couple of years, but my mother just wants to leave those 2 greasewood alone because she wants to take her great-granddaughter there and show her and guide her and have her make her own set. So if that's not possible, then preferably the mother of the Kenalta or the person who has the honor to tie the girl's hair, that person also would gift the Kenalta a set of stirring sticks. So that person would also be the one.
Thank you, Jennifer. We have a couple of questions from Facebook as well. So I'll ask you one. Let's see. It says, how many inches would it usually be? A question from Lucy Tapahanso.
It does not have to be a certain length. Again, it depends on how you are planning to use them, if you're going to keep them or if you're going to gift them to someone. And like I said in my video, it's always good to keep that in mind, however you're going to use it. And like I said, especially when we have kinalta and we're all gathered there and all the women are sitting around the corn, mixing the batter, it really depends because some pots are very large, some are small. So it's just really about what is comfortable for you and what is convenient, what feels right. I know that some of our grandmothers, they have really long ones, maybe even, a yard. Like I said, that's when you're really serious about doing the mixing. So it doesn't really matter what length. The standard is probably maybe 20. That would be about right, more or less.
Okay, I'll read one more Facebook question. A question from Wallace James Jr. Why odd numbers only?
Again, that also depends. It's not necessarily about the odd numbers, the way we perceive it. Belagana echigo nsi kesi dli ajigot eya nsi kesi dli e belagana hashit out adol ayenel do yan sekes jo ebits ado eya odd numbers do even numbers di ne. But in our culture, like I said, based on the different ceremonies and prayers and songs, those are where we get those numbers. So it really puts it in a different perspective when you think about the odd numbers from a Western point of view, and from a Diné point of view, it's not really about odd or even. It's about what your grandparents, what your elders taught you, and that's why they're 5 or 7.
Okay, we have another question here. Where was that? When your stirring sticks get old, how do you properly retire them? Do you retire them as a bundle or can only one be replaced? A question from Alfreda Juan.
That also is based on what your family shares with you. You can replace a set if you need to replace it. Otherwise, these sets really don't retire. Like I said, I have my late grandmother's one of her old sets. And to me, I will never retire them. I still use them today a lot too. So it all depends on what your elders share with you. I do see sometimes when our grandmas use it often, they might maybe crack one or break one. When that happens, again, it all depends your elders tell you, but some of them replace it with a brand new stick. Some of them don't want to replace it with a brand new stick. Some of them just, take apart one set and then just kind of rearrange it that way. So it all depends. And these are really good questions. And, these are really questions that you should create discussions with your elders and your family at home, especially at this time. So, but these are really good questions. Thank you.
Okay, another question is, how long should the newly made stirring sticks be left to dry?
In the presentation, I said maybe a few weeks, but it could even be a month or two. It really depends. Like now it's winter and I can't really put them outside. They're just going to freeze and they're going to stay moist. So in the summertime, when you leave them, which is what my mother does, Ádístsiin go dé stu go éan le sean de don nudget na hot Ádístsiin le go nalsa at éja do disk as do don cheed and the halftino hot do nalsata. You could also put them, if you have a wood stove, if it's cold like it is now, put them by the wood stove and keep them there for I would say about a good month. But if you're not going to use them in a hurry, then, just keep drying them.
Another question is, what is the significance of 5 and 7 sticks?
Yeah,
maybe it got answered. Okay. Did you already answer that, I think?
Oh.
Okay. I was told the stirring sticks could also be given for accomplishments to include in your bundle. A question from Johnson. Maybe it's just a comment.
Okay. Yes, I agree with. I agree with that. Because how how I explained in the presentation. These are not just tools. These are very strong, symbolism tied to who we are as Diné. So it's like gifting someone a Navajo basket. It's of the same value, same significance. So if you want to give someone a gift for an accomplishment, that would be a very good and special thing to do.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Another question is, during Kinalda for twins, do each twin get one, or is one set used for the whole ceremony?
My sister has twins, and they are almost 18 now. And when they had their kinalda, my mom made each of them their own set. So during their ceremony, they didn't just keep their own set, however, they shared. So Athnane nithlo alchiche ya havia ye tana agijo ado biga hisenelo hot ashi eya bikina haga ako ado eya de kushina nil kaho eya laigi kenanal dako eya akwa khanane nithlo shi ye ata aquinzin ado ye alka anakin che ako hot ashi naja. And again, these are really special times, especially when you have twin girls in the family. So ask your elders and be sure to follow your elders' advice.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes left, and I don't know if we'll get through the rest of the questions this evening. There are a lot of great questions in the chat, and I'll take one more question here. Can miniature stirring be made for our very young, even at age 3 or 4, so that they can learn as they grow that these are cooking utensils as well, but are also prepared long before their kinalta, their purpose and use? Because I guess can miniature stirring sticks be made for our very young, even at age 3 or 4 is the question.
I would say probably not, because my mom, makes ádístsiin, and she's been making them for a very long time. So I have never seen her make a miniature set for a small child. Ako ashi bahastit. Ako hotao ato kinalda ko hotao bajunil ko. Eshimpini na eya shamato hotao ilida. Jo bahashnao eya o yu e nihe o if it's ehegi bidadet ado sindo tsudzin ado Hajine the hanegi hot albeda that it got a call Ashimba Bahastie. I would be careful with that, only because I think that my mom would agree with that. I've never seen her make a very small set for a very small child.
Okay, so we have one more Facebook question. Can I take my stirring sticks to a kinalta to help out?
That is the main thing that we encourage. Yes, especially when you're invited by the family who is hosting the kinalta for their child. It is actually an honor to take your ádístsiin there and to have your ádístsiin be included. Sha'a hot eile chashi kinalta ho bamato beje ado beche bamasane benalin linigi ye khwalne ado ye khwalne ko eya e jo ade nakhadinal ado athandonal ado nikhka dilwal nigo eya ye khwalne ako hot ni hoshi e ani ádístsiin adat ehegi do bejo tedashje benaljo e dat ehegi e ako konjo jitle ado e ade njenelto ade atra big in halgale ako ado en lede kha algiesho ade e ya iltrogo e ade kinaldan linigi e ya khwane nil jo e akwa ege e IC nichilnle ako e yisibeni nashi e ade ádístsiin adat ehegi e ade jo jitle do ade khwa atratsenille.
Okay, yeah, Jennifer. We took as many questions as we could, and Jennifer, for answering all those questions and sharing your knowledge and your demonstration. Ado, you also received a lot of wonderful comments in Facebook, and you also have a lot of thank yous from there, also in the chat box right here. Right before we close, I'd like to mention that we are the Navajo language program out of UNM, the University of New Mexico. We hold a culture night, so if you would like to make sure you attend, like us on Facebook. We're also now on Instagram, and we'll share any information that we have on both of those social media platforms. Ado will also be sharing this video on YouTube. as well on our UNM Navajo language program YouTube page. So don't forget to subscribe. And also don't forget that Jennifer has her Navajo cooking YouTube page. She shares a lot of wonderful traditional foods to make, where you'll probably see her using her ídístsiin, the different sizes probably. So yeah. So Aja, she does her videos all in Navajo, you know, to, again, she's a lifelong Navajo language educator and an advocate of the Nebizon. Her goal is to have young people, have all of us start to use, speak, understand our language. Jennifer and Schago.
Hagoshi, Nihido, Hihat, Arnold Swago.
And I think that's it, Manny. We are done.